All right. So that's another batch of news from Russia, from CIS region. What's going on? What's happening? And we're starting with kind of a lighter news, I guess. There's this band called Anacondas, Russian band, and apparently they are not allowed to basically play concert in Russia anymore because apparently there's been sort of unofficial list of bands or artists in general that are basically banned artists in Russia right now. That promoters, the actual people who will give you the venue, so on and so forth, they will not allow you to perform. And so apparently, on 22nd of July, this band Anacondas in Yekaterinburg just said hello Yekaterinburg and goodbye because of the Ministry of Internal Affairs. The concert has been cancelled, and yeah, just a just a little thing that happens in Russia apparently nowadays. I know it's like not a really big deal. I guess it's just some band being basically banned from Russia. But at the same time, you kind of need to think about that. Like if you're an artist and if you are basically um, like working for Russian audience or Russian language speaking audience, um, and touring obviously for musicians has been always like a big um, portion of their income because like sales of CDs are down. Obviously, sales in general, like in let's say iTunes or something like that, is also not that kind of a big portion because there's Spotify right now. There's still the streaming stuff, like just YouTube, for example, as well, and so and there isn't a lot of money to be made through streaming, and so concerts are almost always a really big deal for musicians. And now being cancelled once again, like if you were an artist, I don't know, in let's say in Austria, you get cancelled in Austria and you were performing in English language, for example. You get cancelled in Austria, you can move to Germany or just continue to tour for European countries, for in like United States, so on and so forth. But if you get cancelled like this in Russia, where do you go? In Ukraine, you can't go into Ukraine. You're not really welcome there, and so yeah, I mean it's just a little thing, obviously, comparatively to like a war. It's first world problem, but at the same time, it's an income of people. This is the life of people, right? This is artist's life, and so to be put in such unofficial list of basically like cancelled artists, just because they voiced their opinion like against this war and against the invasion, so on and so forth. This is quite something, and this is not particularly amazing. I know a lot of people might not even think about it, not care about it, but yeah, it's just something to kind of think about. Yeah. Okay. Now let's talk a little bit about Cosmos, about International Space Station, and apparently Russia is preparing to leave International Space Station after 2024, which is it's kind of interesting, but probably it means that Russia's gonna just space presence will be basically over because I don't think they will be able to create another space station just by themselves. Um, because the Soviets had this space station called Mir, which is both world and peace in Russian, which is really interesting. And now probably or peace, yeah, like freedom. No, oh, freedom is there. Okay, no. And now apparently if Russia actually leaves the International Space Station, that's gonna be the end of it, most likely. Which is just goes to show like how actually piss poor Russia is managed in general. Um, in terms of like the government and what they're doing. This because obviously space programs is kind of big governmental initiative. More than anything else, it's like there is the SpaceX and Blue Origin, right? Who are private companies, but mostly space is like really demanding in terms of money, in terms of involvement, so on and so forth, and just projects like it's not your Uber, you know. It's not something that can be kind of massively scaled, for example, and be brought to consumers somehow, so on and so forth. So it is still space is still kind of a thing for either for really big governments or even for like collaboration between different governments, like European Space Agency or something like that. And so, yeah, I don't think Russia on its own will be able to create another space station. I mean, listen, they can't even fucking create a car that has airbags and like electronics inside of it. So to create a fucking space station, give me a fucking break. Give me a fucking break. So yeah, just the news that apparently the new the new head of Roscosmos, which is sort of like a NASA, um, Russian Cosmos, basically. It's exactly that's Roscosmos. Um, yeah, he's basically said that Russia um, will quit basically. So yeah, and basically that's kind of a probably gonna present sort of challenges for International Space Station in general, because obviously if Russia just quits, who's gonna maintain like their modules? Who's gonna maintain just in general space station? Just in general, I'm not really sure how it's gonna work. I'm not really sure like what's the course of action there. Like, is everybody just gonna like quit basically the International Space Station in its current form? Will it be just um, will it yeah be descended into like an ocean or something like that, or will there be some sort of a transition, you know, like if Russia is leaving, like will they allow, I don't know, like US or Europe to buy out their like modules, their parts, like to continue using them? I don't really understand like how it's gonna go how it's gonna go with that. Because if Russia leaves and nobody maintains like their segments and so on and so forth, like eventually, like you have to basically abandon it too, and you have to sink it into the ocean, and then obviously then you kind of need to build another one. It's kind of a big implication because if Russia exits in 2024, it's just 2 years. I don't think you can build a fucking space station in 2 years. Um, so yeah, that will pose quite a problem for the rest of the world, I'm assuming. Also, what's interesting is that right now Russia has shown that they are not a trustworthy partner, not only because of the invasion of Ukraine, but also due to the fact how they're managing um, gas supplies to Germany, to Europe, for example. They are just proving time and time again that they are not a reliable partner. And so I'm just wondering, like, yeah, uh, what else Russia is gonna basically in which other areas Russia will basically shoot itself in the foot again. But yeah, okay. So we've been talking before in the previous episode that Lithuania actually Parliament of Lithuania has announced Russia as a sponsor of terrorism, and now Latvia has done the same. I think, if I'm not mistaken. Um, This time, Latvia has gone even further, I think, than Lithuania, because they want to cancel all the visas for, or at least like stop issuing new visas for both Russians and Belarusians. Um, Once again, I understand this. Um, being being a Belarusian person who's stuck in this dictatorship state, not particularly happy, obviously, if I won't be able to get a fucking visa to get out of here ever. That's not really great. But once again, what Latvian, Lithuanians, what anybody is doing in their own countries, that's up to them, their countries, the people, so on and so forth. If everybody, if the Baltic states have this real kind of a wake up moment and real like now disdain towards all Russians, like they don't separate anymore Putin and his regime, and yeah, like fucking awful people who go actually to Ukraine and participate in this war. And if they all group together another 140 million people, well, it's up to them. I said it in a previous stream that I think it's fucking stupid, and I don't think this is the way to go. But that's that's their country, that's their lives. If they think this is a reasonable, sensible approach, all right, well, you do you, I guess. You do you. Just a little news, kind of a stupid news that apparently Russians have been have been going on tours, on shopping tours to Belarus, which is very funny because for years it's been the other way around, that Belarusian people would go to Russia for if they actually wanted like some good clothes or whatever, or actually to Ukraine even. And now apparently Russians, because up to 80% of brands left Russia, and apparently not all of them have left Belarus as of this moment at least. Yeah, apparently Russians are actually traveling to Minsk, for example. Although, truthfully, I don't really know what exactly they can find there, because anytime I would look in like shops in Minsk and Belarus, I don't know. It feels like there's not a lot of like really good things there, to be honest. So it's really interesting that apparently in Russia right now things are even worse than they are in Belarus, which is quite telling already. Because like I'm saying, things in Belarus are pretty fucking shit right now and pretty fucking grim. But yeah. All right then. I was also talking about in a previous episode about this private military company, ČVK Wagner, and that basically they are trying to recruit people from from the prison population, and apparently this started in like July slash August, or like intensified in July and August, and that and that apparently wives of those who are serving time right now are trying to basically talk them out of joining this war, joining this ČVK Wagner, and yeah, apparently in this case this lady has kind of has succeeded in that. I don't know how to feel about it. I mean, because this Wagner guys, they recruiters, they are explicitly trying to target those who are there either for like armed robbery, for murder, so on and so forth. Like they're trying um to take like the worst cases and send them to Ukraine. So on the one hand, they kind of They're kind of trying to. Well, first of all, they're sending murderers there, or like violent people in general. But also, in some weird and fucked up way, they're also cleaning Russia from these destructive elements because they don't need to pay. Basically, if they die in war in Ukraine, they don't need to pay for keeping them locked behind the bars for the next whatever 10-15 years. And I'm pretty sure people like that will not get all those like millions of rubles that are promised to anyone to anyone's family of soldiers who die in during the combat and so on and so forth. Because I'm pretty sure they would sign some waiver agreement, whatever, that yeah, we don't care about it. Just I don't know, get us out of here. I guess I don't even know. That's pretty fucked up. That's like I don't think I've ever heard of things like that. Like the country in war is running out of manpower, and is fucking trying to recruit them from prisons. Like this is your own due process is being completely fucking disintegrated because the court, the judges, they've put those people there for a reason. And now just some cunt is like literally, and I'm not even fucking joking. This is a cook of Putin. Like literally cook of Putin, Prigozhin. He and this CVK Wagner, which is supposed to be like, I don't even know how it's fucking legal in the framework of Russian law, because I'm pretty sure it's not legal. And now this guy has the ability to actually like not even recruit, take people out of prison without like judges, doing any kind of legal paperwork, like releasing them on parole, I don't know, something like that. No. So this is just like the whole concept of government is being completely obliterated. I mean, we're talking about fucking Russia, so it's been completely obliterated a long time ago. But to see it just being shit on in such manner, this is unbelievable. This is unfucking real. I'm saying, I don't think I've ever fucking heard of anything, even like close to this. That a fucking country, big country, 145 fucking million people, 44 whatever, running out of men to send to war, and so you recruit people in institutions. That's insane. That's just insane. Don't know what to tell you about this. There is this oligarch called Oleg Deripaska, and there's been a really great video from FBK, from Navalny's team, about his dealings with Ministry of Internal Affairs of Russia. Lavrov, you probably know that guy. I've seen that guy, the fucking horse. This cunt, absolute fucking cunt, and this cunt was, or rather, how to put it, rather this cunt, the oligarch, this one, was using basically using the Lavrov to gain some influence. He was traveling, or Lavrov was traveling with Deripaska. His family was traveling with Deripaska into Europe, a lot of places across the world, actually, which is very, very interesting. And now Deripaska is is trying to sue people, like a politician Navalny and few other people in the Navalny team. They're trying to sue them, and they're trying to remove this video, yachts, bribes, and mistress, what hides Minister Lavrov. If you've never seen this video, I highly recommend you to do so. It's a pretty good video, this one, and I'm pretty sure it's got. Okay, all right. Okay, Yeah, it's got subtitles in English, so shouldn't be a problem. 10 million views. It's a good one, and it's an it's an eye-opening thing. And now, yeah, once again, Deripaska wants also for one of the one of the investigators, Maria Pevchik, that Deripaska wants her to actually create a video apology. Not only delete the video, but also create a video apology where she and another guy, another reporter, basically denounce what they've reported, which is just insanity. I mean, these people are completely out of their fucking mind. Like the elites in Russia, they think they think they rule the world, which they don't. They maybe rule Russia. That's about it. Yeah, just a fucking interesting story. Just wanted to share it because it's just so absurd that I was like, what in the fuck is that? I mean, it's not the first time that they tried like one of the basically one of the people in those investigations, or rather like whose investigations were talking about, um, basically try to force them to delete the videos. I think who was that? Usmanov. I think Alisher Usmanov was another one who tried to do the same. I'm pretty sure. Since these people, FBK team, since most of them are not based in Russia, I think they've moved on because they're wanted in Russia. I'm pretty sure. And Deripaska sued them in Moscow. So it's like, yeah, okay, well, good luck, with this thing. I mean, and and they also want Deripaska wants like $1,000 per day in case for any day until that investigation would be deleted, which is once again like good fucking luck with all of that. But yeah, once again, kind of an interesting piece of news. Wanted to share it with you. And I'm definitely suggesting you to take a look at it if you have not seen it before. Zelensky wants to once again is urging Europe to close border for all the Russians. And I haven't read this interview. Apparently, Washington Post posted the whole big interview with Zelensky. I have not read it yet. Maybe next time, but I don't think I don't think he gets it. Even if everybody who's traveling right now or who has Schengen visas will be banned and would have to go back to Russia, I don't think it would change anything. I saying like that people actually elected those politicians. They did not elect those politicians. It's like apparently he's never seen any like investigations of Navalny team of FBK, because in most cases nobody elects these people. They elect themselves. And more to this, like governors of regions in Russia, they're being appointed by Putin himself. So you don't elect anything anymore in Russia. It's like there is your Tsar, whatever, dictator, and he puts key people on key positions, and he can remove people from key positions. You don't really elect things. And so, yeah, okay, another whatever, like 50,000 Russians will come, or I don't know how many of them have Schengen visas. It's actually probably not that much, not that many people, because there were many times cited the statistics that I think 1/3 of Russians never even left their own region, so they didn't even travel across Russia anywhere. So think about it, right? Like, so it's at least like 30 million people, almost 40, probably 35 million people, never even traveled wherever, like 500 kilometers left or right. Not even 500, less probably. And then 2/3 never went outside Russia, or maybe even 80%. I might be misquoting slightly. So like the thing is that like a lot of Russians have never been anywhere outside Russia. And so those people, those again like 50,000, maybe 100,000 people, if they will be banned from getting into Europe, will they really create like a revolution? I really highly doubt it. I don't think like because this is again like I talked about it before in a previous stream. Zelensky is a great leader of Ukraine. He's doing well. He's doing what he can, but he doesn't get it. Like, and especially it is kind of it's hypocritical because fucking Europe still buys gas and oil from Russia, and then you're dealing with Russia. You are sponsoring that war. You are sending billions of euros and dollars to Russia, and then you're like, no, but we're gonna ban Russians. Like, I don't get this. This is just stupid. Yeah, if you see Russians who are like harassing people on the streets of whatever, Berlin or something like that, or who are being like disrespectful to the countries where they are, yeah, send them back. But if it's just normal people, like I don't get this. I really don't get this. I don't really like it. And I think in the previous stream I've made like stupid comparison about Germany. I think I found like a bit better comparison during the war, um, Second World War. Did any other state ban Germans from exiting Germany? I don't think so. I mean, maybe some did, but if people were kind of fleeing this dictatorship regime that was inside Germany, like, yeah, they were fleeing it, and maybe some people were. I don't know. I don't know about the visa situation back then. I think like you could just travel. Like you didn't need to have all those visas and all those like really strict procedures. I don't think so, right? I mean, maybe you could, maybe like you had to have some sort of visas, but I don't think. I think like these visas and all of this kind of stuff is more recent development rather than even like 70, almost 80 years ago. I think I might need to check it out. But yeah, he thinks that yeah, people who support the war and who do not support, but they're just being silent, he thinks it's all the same. Which once again, I don't think it's all the same. It's not the same because yeah, people are trying to put their kids into universities in other countries, schools maybe in other countries, and perhaps it's like middle class families, and they understand that Russia is going into shit, and they at least like want something good for their kids at least, if they maybe cannot really go out themselves, like move out of Russia because maybe elder parents there or something like that. I understand Zelensky's Ukraine country is at war, so you don't need to feel really empathetic towards Russians. I get this, but once again, they're fighting Kremlin, they're fighting regime, and they're fighting at the very most 200,000 people. 200,000 people in 140 million country. Like I'm sorry, but you're talking about 0.0% of all the people, and yet you want to group all the rest of the people as the same, label as the same supporters of the war, supporters of regime, uh, which people might be just supporters of their own fucking life. They don't want to die. They want to be fucking, um, you know, tortured in something like in police custody, so on and so forth. So yeah, not a fan of this thing. Not a fan. All right. Um, there are more explosions in Crimea going on apparently. Um, and And apparently, once again, Russians are denying that anything really is happening there, and it's once again um, because of uh, because of violations of fire safety, or at least like some previous explosion they were treated as violations of fire safety. However, apparently today some explosions were called diversion, right? Like a special sabotage, okay? Um, which is interesting. That's something new because usually Russia just denies it, says that yeah somebody smoked, and things started to explode, which is really what they're saying. And yeah, apparently sabotage. Today it's sabotage. Very interesting. Did not know about that. Did not know about that, but pretty interesting. Pretty interesting. And Chancellor Scholz of Germany, Olaf Scholz, actually apparently promised to give Ukraine or continue giving Ukraine long range weapons. I'm not sure how many of them. Okay, yeah. 30 Gepards, radio location station, free high Mars, well, not high, but Mars systems. Um, yeah, okay, so they've been actually finally apparently delivering things to Ukraine. Finally, maybe, I'm not sure really, like, maybe, like, they just didn't announce it through, like, medium and so on and so forth, media, so on and so forth, to not draw, like, Russia's attention to it. Maybe they just secretly were supplying Ukraine with, with actual artillery and ammunition, so on and so forth. And maybe since they've seen how Ukrainians are using HIMARS or similar systems, maybe now Germany like actually started to believe that okay, actually like Ukraine knows what they're doing. They manage those systems on a really high like proficiency level, and also because I don't think not even a single one of those HIMARS systems have been destroyed despite the fucking claims of Russia that they're destroying every fucking day. These systems, yeah, which is obviously just lies. But also, but also, I feel like maybe since Germany is right now really understanding that Russia is not a reliable source of energy because Russia continues to cut the supply of gas to Germany, even despite the fact that the infamous now turbine for Nord Stream is just sitting there in Germany apparently and can be delivered to Russia, but Russia basically says no, we don't this and this and that. They're basically playing the game. They are trying to use this as like a leverage, or to actually just even punish perhaps Germany at this point because Germany has been supporting Ukraine now quite openly. But maybe Germany understands now that well we're kind of shit out of luck on Russia anyway right now, so might as well just fully support Ukraine and continue to give them as much things that we can. Perhaps I don't know. I don't really know, but that's my guess. That's my hopes. Um, anyway, so yeah, perhaps that is what's been happening now. Okay, something interesting is that apparently during those explosions on Crimean airport airstrip, Russia has lost at least like 6, 7, 8 maybe planes. Maybe some claim that maybe even 9 planes. And that's been basically like one of the heaviest losses Russian aviation sustained almost like ever. Yeah, after 1945 apparently there is no information about any one-time event that led to a destruction of that many planes, which is pretty brutal. I mean, it's amazing, obviously, that it's been done by Ukraine, but it's brutal because apparently um, military analytics says that Russia is creating about 10 to 20 planes per year. And so, if in one occurrence Ukraine destroyed 9 of them, basically half of the planes that Russia can produce in a year, or maybe all of the planes that Russia can produce in a year, that's, obviously, that's a really big deal. But more to this, even that I've read that basically, like I've read the opinion that it's not even about planes so much as to about pilots, because apparently um, Ukraine could have destroyed during those attacks several pilots, maybe like 7, I think. I think, not sure really, but at least that's the news I've read. And so pilots is what even more important than just the planes themselves, because you can't really, like, you can build a plane in a year, but you can't create a pilot in a year, can you? And so that was a really key victory for Ukraine, even if we talk about this, um, which is really interesting. And after this event, apparently Putin even called the Soviet of not Soviet, what am I saying? Council of Defense, Security Council, something like that. This apparatus in Russia, and yeah, nothing particularly like you kind of. It's just a lot of just mumbo jumbo, basically. They don't know what to do. Let's be honest. They don't know what to do with all of this, and you know, good for Ukraine, bad for Russian people, who with time will become more and more poor, because a lot of money will be thrown at this war, and economy of Russia is falling hard right now, and it's been just 6 months, and even not even all the sanctions are currently active in place, and things will get really bad. Anyway, let's continue. We have still quite a lot of news to cover. So, Russian people have bought foreign currency or have taken from the banks in July $3 billion, which is quite a lot. And apparently, as time moves on, as time progresses, Russians are starting to feel that they can't really trust the government, can't really trust the banking system. Um, can't really trust the banking system because, well, apparently, yeah, apparently, people start to realize that things are really starting to turn sideways. And what's interesting um, is that there is this limit on cash, basically on taking cash from your own bank account. But apparently, even like a lot of people even have taken rubles from their foreign currency. So like you have opened, for example, like a currency account in your bank, and like usually like you put there your own dollars, euros, whatever. But because of the central bank of Russia, basically like a Federal Reserve System in United States, or central bank in Europe, the same thing, central bank in Russia, it limited the ability of people to take their money from those accounts, because um, well, because Russia is not getting a lot of those. I mean, once again, Europe and other countries, they still pay in dollars, in euros for energy supplies, but the amount of dollars and euros is getting like smaller and smaller as time goes on. And so, what Russia has done is, at least they've limited the ability of people, of regular people, to just go and cash out all of their actual currencies, because obviously there is this concept of what is it, like partial reserve system or whatnot. Like banks basically don't have to have all of your money there. They might need to have only like 10% of actual dollars, euros, and whatnot, and the rest is basically fictional shit. And so obviously, central bank kind of worries that if a lot of people will suddenly go into banks and try to cash out, try to take their actual currency, dollars, euros, from those accounts, it might crash the whole banking system. And so they've limited the ability to do this. But they can still give you the money in rubles. So let's say you have $10,000 in your account. You can't take out $10,000, but you can take $10,000 in rubles, which would be like, times 50 or whatever the exchange rate right now, 60, something like that. And apparently people have been doing even that now. So, yeah. And apparently 64%, still like 60, it was almost 90%, now it's around 60% of exporters income they have to basically sell to the government, which is something that also obviously gives the government dollars, or euros for that matter, and gives the exporters back like Russian currency, rubles, which you can print as many as you want, obviously, since you are in Russia and since you're controlling the supply of them. So just a little and also it's related to this, is that the fact that people, just physical people, like not businesses but people, are transferring a lot of money to like somewhere outside Russia, basically. That's quite something. Apparently, just in 1 month, people were able to transfer about $7 billion outside Russia. But yeah, and it's also very interesting. I don't know if I've talked about it before. Central bank has limited this the movement basically of money on your accounts. In March, it was $5,000. $5,000 per month you could have transferred from your account to your like foreign accounts. In March, it was $5,000 per month. In April, it was $10K. In May, it was $50K. June, $150, and July, $1 million. So just so we understand, right? Like in March, right? Because obviously the war started February, March. These are the times when the general population had the most amount of panic probably, right? And so they've limited it to $5,000, right? $5,000 probably, good chunk of like Russian people might have $5,000. Like not large, but maybe like 10% of people, I don't know, maybe 5% of people might have $5,000 that they, or like $10,000, let's say, that they maybe wanted to move somewhere away from Russia because Russia has become suddenly very, very unstable state. But they couldn't do it in March. So then in April, you up it to 10K. Okay, it's like way less people who have just 10K laying around in their account, but still not zero. The amount of people who have just 50K laying in their accounts doing nothing, I doubt is really a high amount. And now we're talking about 150 and then 1 million per month. Like, who do you think this is made for? I can almost safely bet that this extension of you can take out of your account in Russia and transfer to another account in another bank in like Europe, let's say, or United States, somewhere else, doesn't matter, up to 1 million per month is most likely done either for oligarchs and their families or for actual bureaucrats, governmental workers sitting high up in Russian government whose families, often most of the time are living somewhere in Europe or in United States, so on and so forth. And because the accounts of some of them might have been like blocked because of some sanctions, so on and so forth, maybe now they're doing some machinations, sending money to someone else, for example. I don't know. But just in general, like, there is not a lot of people in Russia who can take out 1 million per month from their accounts and transfer it to some other accounts in, again, like I'm saying, in some other country. And most of them are, in one way or another, related to Russian government. Even oligarchs are obviously related to Russian government because it's the government who basically allowed them to become oligarchs, allowed them to use the natural resources of Russia. They're supposed to belong to all people to actually create gains for themselves. So this just smells like fucking thing that is done for the Russian elites in air quotes. Yeah. And apparently before the invasion of Ukraine, Russians were holding 90 billion in banks in Russia and 18 billion they were quick enough to take out of their accounts before the central bank limited withdrawals of for 5K and then 10K. So even in the first months, not in the first month, first days basically, Russians out of 90 billion were able to take out almost 20 of them, which is a lot. And obviously, like, once you put so much pressure on the banking sector, banking system, it can collapse. I mean, look at the USSR, what's happened there. So yeah, just wanted to acknowledge this because it's always interesting. And I don't understand how and why Europe is still holding on with the bans of like Europe. So certain countries, at least in Europe, want to ban all Russians, and yet right now, like daughters of Minister of Defense, but it's actually in this case Minister of Offense of Russia, Shoigu, his daughter is in Europe, traveling, making some photos in Paris, whatever. Why she's not fucking banned? Why her accounts are not banned? Why she's not like on sanction list? What in the fuck is that? What is it what's that about? This is the people who are actually directly, well, not her directly, but her father, directly responsible for the war in Ukraine. And yet these people are not sanctioned, they're not banned, they're not thrown out of Europe, and yet certain countries just ban all Russians. I just don't get this. It's kind of fucking stupid, kind of fucking hypocritical if you ask me. All right. I was talking about it in the previous episode, but I was talking about this. I was talking about. Well, I wasn't talking about this. I was talking about the fact that Ministry of Foreign Affairs have basically um, started issuing a lot more passports than it's been doing in previous years. This time around, it's talking about. I'm not even sure how to call this. I mean, it is foreign passport, but so there's this concept of it is like this in Russia, I think, still, which is something insane. I think it was like this in Soviets as well. You have your own passport of Russian Federation, but this is not the passport that you travel with. For traveling, you need what is called Zagran passport or foreign passport. So it's a separate document, basically. I'm in Belarus, so we have just one passport inside the country and to travel abroad. I think like most countries have just one passport, but there is this concept of Zagran passport, foreign passport, that you need to have if you want to get out of the country of Russia. There is, and apparently, which is really interesting, that in the first half of 2022, Russians have gotten 2.5 million of those passports, which is 40, almost 50% more than the same period in 2021, and 3 times more than in 2019. The same amount of time, the same half year. 3 times more than in 2019. Obviously, 2020 was like borders with a lot of countries were closed, and 2021 also still a lot of Europe was closed, so on and so forth. So like before pandemic 2019, the comparing it with 2019, and thus it is 3 times more than in 2019, which is really interesting because apparently people, a lot, it's like 2 million people, 2.5 million people are thinking that if they need to like run away from this country, they better have the fucking passport so at least they can do it. That's a lot. That's really quite a lot. I'm like there've been there've been like estimations that about like 70 100k of people, of IT specialists anyway, like 50k, or let's just talk like lower estimates, 50k of IT specialists left the country in the first month of war, which probably would be like March. Yeah, would be March. Then most likely in April, even up to 70k might have went out of the country. Um, in May though, like the premier of is it just called premier? Prime Minister, sorry. Prime Minister Mikhail Mishustin said that 85% of IT specialists return back. I am not really sure about this. I feel like this is bullshit. I mean, I feel like it should be bullshit. I don't think so. But basically, yeah, people are expecting up to 2 million people to leave Russia um, for basically forever since the invasion, and 6 months now, and in the upcoming months as well. So apparently, this 2.5 million of foreign passports is good, or quite a good indication at least, of how many people want to or think about just live in this country. And once again, these are most kind of well, these are gonna be these kind of more educated people with perhaps skills that can be quite easily translated, like IT specialists, or maybe like engineers, high quality engineers, so on and so forth. Like maybe high quality doctors, people like that. They're leaving the country. Basically, the best brains are leaving the country, or one of the better brains leaving the country, which will lead to quite a downfall in the years to come, obviously. Because if your best if your best specialists are leaving the country, who's gonna be creating new things in the country? Who's gonna be building new factories, new jobs? Who's gonna be like the businessmen who, not just oligarchs who are connected to Kremlin, but just businessmen who are gonna be creating things in Russia? And the answer is unknown, really, or actually no one probably. That's just the reality that will await Russia in 3, 5, 10 years, and yeah, it's gonna be regular, simple people who, yeah, who wanted to do nothing with the war politics, so on and so forth. But they will probably feel the consequences of the actions of Putin and all his fucking cronies. Yeah. All right. Finland decided not to build high-speed railway into Russia because apparently now Finland is has Finland. I'm not sure. I'm not sure if Finland is actually canceling Russian visas and so on and so forth. Maybe not, but yeah, they were talking about probably limiting visas, but I'm not sure if it's already been done. Yeah, they are basically they're still talking about it. And apparently European leaders will be discussing this kind of a thing in August. So right about this time, maybe in the end of August, maybe by the next stream on the next in the next week, maybe or in 2 weeks, we'll see. Maybe there's gonna be some decision about Finland as well. But for now, obviously, they've decided well, just to not do business with them really. Um, Also, since we're talking about sort of uh, Baltic states and states that are bordering Russia, Ministry of Defense of Estonia said that they're planning to close um, Fin. What's the? I'm not sure about the English word for that. English term for that. Sorry, Gulf of Finland. Okay. Um, and obviously, if they close Gulf of Finland, St. Petersburg, yeah, can't. For they want to close this Gulf of Finland for Russian military ships. And if it's done, I think in St. Petersburg, there's there's like a base, if I'm not mistaken, like a military base. I feel so, right? Not super sure, but I feel like so that would probably limit Russia and their ability, obviously, to do anything with that. Which is, I guess, good. Why not? It's up to them what to do with that. And apparently, Denmark is also thinking about limiting Schengen visas for Russians across the whole Europe. Um, but once again, like, I don't like it. I really don't like it. I don't think it's fair. And these people, I mean, Zelensky is also like wrong about, because once again, like, people who've never lived under dictatorships, people who've never lived in such authoritarian countries like fucking Russia, like fucking Belarus, they don't know what they're fucking talking about. They just don't know what they're talking about. Yes, if you think like, oh yeah, if only 10% of Russians would actually start riots or like civil disobedience, whatever the fuck, that would be like 14 million people. You can, like there's not a lot. Probably there isn't 14 million of like military personnel, so on and so forth, who would, or like riot police, who would actually be able to beat them all up and put them all fucking in jail, so on and so forth. But it's not it's not as easy to say this. Like, it's just not. You can just say it because you've never lived under such states. And if you are like living in some wherever 100,000 k city somewhere in Russia, like what, you will have like 10k people just protesting? Really? Like how? You need some more organization. You need some planning, scheduling, like arranging all of this. You need like real working opposition to do all of that. And real working opposition is either fucking jailed, killed, or exiled. I mean, sure, you can still like, do things over internet, over some Telegram accounts and so on and so forth. But I mean, sorry, but this is not. It's not that easy. And Russia is right now actually targeting and searching for like owners of Telegram channels, independent channels. Like, yeah, they're doing it right now. So it's not even that easy. But anyway, since we're talking about visas and so on and so forth, let's also talk about Poland. That Poland apparently is working on this law decree, whatever it's gonna be, that that would ban Russian people from getting visas. Yeah, and apparently this is just about tourist visas. I'm not sure. I think Latvia, Lithuania, those countries, I think they're also nullifying like resident permits, which is quite something. And I've even read the news about Belarusian mini football coach who, I'm not sure if I've got this news here, but I've just read it just a few days ago, that a coach who's been mini football, right? Or like futsal, you can say it. Coach, I think it was in Lithuania, who've been trained, Belarusian coach in Lithuania was training those teams, and I think he got nominated or even won 2 times like the best coach of the year award. And now he can't continue living in Lithuania because his residence permit was nullified, and now he must go back to Belarus. So he tried to escape to a better country, train teams there, do something cool, I guess, for the football, for mini football there. And now, because of this, well, in this case, Belarusophobia as well, even though I've never noticed that Belarus like attacked Lithuania, for example, or something like that. I don't know. I mean, listen, okay, I get it. They all trying to like solidify against this alliance of Russia plus Belarus. It's Russia first, obviously, but Belarus is still there, and I'm salty because I have the passport of this fucking country that I despise, hate, and I can't just escape it. So maybe if I were Lithuanian, I would fucking think differently. I don't know. But I just know I've read that news and I was like, that's just fucking dumb. You are just spraying from like machine gun into the woods, basically. You're not like targeting anything. You're just like, or even like you're just like napalming the fucking shit out of the forest. You're not targeting specific individuals who might be bad actors. You just want to eradicate everything. which is not fair. I don't think it's fair. Like, once again, it's one thing if there's some Russophobic comments on the internet of the person who's got your residence permit or your issued visa, so on and so forth. Yeah, okay, ban them, throw them out of the country. They didn't conduct themselves properly. They didn't, adhere to the standards of democracy and freedom and fucking love for everybody. Oh, fuck, I don't fucking know, okay? But if it's like a normal person who is trying to escape the fucking really shitty fucking situation, like, what in the fuck? It's basically, if we're going back to the examples of Germany, if it would be somebody like from Germany, person opposes the fucking dictator, opposes Hitler. He wants to go, let's say, whatever, like he goes to Italy, let's say, tries to live a better. Okay, well, it's Italy. Okay, not Italy. Italy would be a bad example. They go to France, whatever, Spain, France. They go to France, and then French people sending them back to fucking Germany during the war. What the fuck is this shit? It fucking pisses me off so much. It pisses me off so much. Because this is just not fair, and I'm all for fairness. And this is not fair. This is, you're treating everybody as if they are fucking the most evil people in the world just because they were unlucky to be born with a fucking specific passport on a fucking specific part of the world, part of the land. This is so unfair. And this is, you're punishing people for their parents, basically, because it's the parents who brought them there, who gave birth to them there on that territory. This is so unfair. And changing country is so not fucking easy. And it's like, so what? Like, your parents didn't have a fucking foresight to travel to, let's say, USA and give birth in USA, which automatically grants you citizenship of USA. How a lot of like Russian ministers, prime ministers, fucking elites are doing. So you're not gonna be punishing those people. No. But you're gonna be punishing normal, regular Russians, Belarusians, whose parents were making those decisions that now lead to these people need to somehow try to escape those countries and now being even sent back to the dictatorship shithole that they've tried to escape from. You know what? Like, I know it's like maybe somewhat stupid of me to say, but these actions of those Baltic states, Lithuania, Latvia, Estonia, I mean, like, it's not that I've ever wanted to live there, but given this current, like Russia was crying wolf about Russophobia, and they just created that problem. They're like, it didn't exist. There was no Russophobia in Europe. Now it exists, and now it comes from those Lithuania, Latvia, Poland. To a certain extent, I think Poland was better, but still, this is just stupid. This is like a not untrustworthy countries for me now personally. This is not a democratic thing. Just to ban everybody based on a passport. No, fuck that shit. Fuck that shit. I will never subscribe to this shit group mentality garbage. Never. All right, let's move on because this fucking pisses me off a lot. So, I think I need to speed up a little bit because there are a lot of news and I'm not really sure if I really need to cover all of them, or maybe we can maybe split them into two actual episodes because yeah, because it's a lot. In Ukraine, from school programs. They've eliminated Russian language, Russian literature, and also texts from Belarusian authors as well. Ministry of Education and Science of Ukraine has said just that. Instead of that, they added some foreign writers and so on and so forth. Obviously, understandable. At the same time, I don't really get it. At the same time, it's Ukraine. They can do whatever they feel like suits them best, I guess. I frankly didn't like a lot of the Russian things that Russian just in general, a lot of literature that we were reading during school, especially because I feel like those are the things that you should read later in life, because you don't really understand a lot of them when you're reading them at the age of 15, 16, shit like that. So, not sure. Yeah. Apparently, they also added the Russian-Ukrainian conflict of 2014, annexation of Crimea, and then some. This is their history course, and they also added certain things about 2022 and this war, the current ongoing war. Again, good for them. I'm all for that. But I don't think you really need to remove all of it, and especially remove just Russian language in general. I mean, with this thing, I mean, again, the country is at war with Russia. I understand that, okay. However, I mean, Ukraine is not a small country. 40 million is a lot. So yeah, I guess whatever. It's because I've grown up in Belarus, and basically we've all, I mean, we have Belarusian language obviously in school, but nobody really speaks Belarusian language unless it's really true patriot of Belarus and not post-Soviet Belarus. But everybody speaks Russian, and Belarus it feels like Belarus is, if not a part of Russia, it doesn't feel like a true its own country. You know what I mean? Because the language was almost eradicated, left just for very minorities of, I don't know, maybe some people maybe in villages could speak some mixed language, Russian plus Belarusian, Trosyanka as it's called, and true believers in true Belarus, or Belarus that were more aligned with Lithuania, Ukraine, something like that, rather than with Russia. So there's that. So yeah, I don't know how I really feel about it. I've never lived in the country, and in Ukraine, when I visited Ukraine, when you just visited Ukraine before events of 20, even 14, 15, everybody spoke Russian, everybody understood Russian. That's been not a problem at all, and Putin actually ruined all of that, because speaking Russian is obviously beneficial the same way as speaking English is beneficial. If you are creating content and it's in English, you have an ability to reach wider audience than if you're just making content in your local language, let's say Belarusian language or even Ukrainian language. Once again, that's why it's different, because there are only 9 million of Belarusian people and there's 40 of them in Ukraine, so it's kind of different. But if you are a writer, or if you're a musician, it's one thing to create for 40 million people. It's another thing to create for 250 million people, which is approximately the amount of people who can understand Russian language, or who are native carriers of the language. I just feel to me, the language doesn't really feel personal. It's more about the primary function of the language, which is communication, delivery of information. I don't feel if I live in Belarus and I use Russian language, it is somehow I betrayed Belarus. I equally hate and despise Belarus and Russia, and yet, like, I find Russian language more interesting than Belarusian language, and it's, there's more things to read, so on and so forth. Same with English. Like, I'm doing this right now in English because I understand that there are 1.5 billion people who can understand English. So even compared to Russian, that's a step up, and not a step down. So I don't get it really. I feel like, just whatever. Ukraine can do whatever the fuck they want with their educational system. I hope at least they're studying English language, because that's a pretty big necessity in the current modern world. And I really hope they teaching they're teaching it better than they've taught us here. Okay, Navalny once again is asking EU and US to actually ban all of the oligarchs from Forbes, Forbes 1000 or whatever, because from out of 200 people, Russian oligarchs and corrupt officials, okay, korrupционер, we call it one word. Out of 200 people in Forbes list, there's some sanctions against only 46. So, not a lot. I mean, it's something, but not a lot. And this is exactly what I'm talking about. That EU seems like going to ban tourist visas, and yet they don't do enough to actual people who are actually in charge, or to a big degree at least in charge of all of this shit show. All of these oligarchs and so, well, because it's money, right? Regular tourists, Russian tourists, what, they're gonna bring you like $1,000 whatever. These people are bringing you like billions. So it's just so like pathetic. I don't know. Um, yeah, this is just. All right. Medvedev said that Russia is actually having a high level of defense capacity right after those three explosions in one day in Crimea. So just fun. This is just fun. Finland downscaling issuing visas to Russia 10 times. So 10 times less out of right now it's apparently about 1,000 applications, and in the future it's going to be 100. So there's that. Right now there is already censorship in Russia, in terms of censorship in media for sure, but also censorship in art, in movies, in music, so on and so forth. Like I told you before, concerts of bands and artists deemed, kind of, basically deemed deemed what, like, untrustworthy, I guess. Inside Russia, like Anacondas, like what we've started today talking about. In USSR, there was like a whole division that was basically doing censorship of music, of print, and of movies. It was called like art councils. And apparently Russia right now, or at least some cunts in Russia, wants to recreate the same thing. Obviously, I'm assuming whoever is proposing this, they want to be that censor, because of course these are the cunts who can't fucking create for shit for themselves. They're just useless pieces of garbage, and they of course want to control other people who are more free, who have more things to say, who can express themselves, and so on and so forth. And now they want this back, and they want to control others, what they think, what they can talk, and so on and so forth. Yeah, which is really interesting. Apparently, Dmitry Nagiyev, which is like an artist and TV personality in Russia, apparently he will not participate in programs on this like main Russian TV state media, wherever. I mean, I get, well, whatever, right? Good for him, I guess. I don't think he like publicly said that he's against this war. I don't think he's publicly done it, but at least if he's gonna stop basically working for this cunts, like, I guess good. Yeah. Arkady Volosh, one of the initial creators of Yandex, which is basically like a Google, but for Russia, tries to. Well, he's under sanctions of Europe. I don't know about him much really, but now apparently he's trying to sell at least portion of his business to Russian government, or he wants to like take certain things, certain Yandex things out of Russia. Yeah, not sure really. Not sure really what to say about this. I wasn't really following that kind of a development. In USSR, they've had like medals and little symbolic, I guess, more than anything else, prizes for all different things. Like, if you've succeeded like at your factory, you've created like exorbitant amount of products or so on and so forth. Now Putin wants to or like there were these titles, ranks, yeah, and you saw like Mать Героиня, mother heroine, mother heroine, heroic mother, which this thing wasn't present in USSR, and apparently to get this accomplishment, Russian Federation citizenship lady need to give birth to 10 or more people. And all of them have to be citizens of Russian Federation. And then she would get like 1 million rubles, which is divided by like 60 to get it in dollars. And yeah, it's done basically. Well, again, like, it's not gonna fucking stimulate people to pop out fucking 10 people, 10 kids. This is fucking insanity. But apparently the fertility, birth rate, is at the minimums right now. For at least like 20 years. And for certain months it's just it's the at minimums ever, basically, since Stalin, since the 1930s or something like that. Yeah, because, well, first of all, this happens all the time, all over the whole world, that when a woman has a chance, she doesn't need to give birth at like fucking 20 or something, or 18. When she has access to education, decent at least medicine, to work, it's happening all over the place, all over the globe, all the time, exactly the same. You give access to medication, give preventive medication to not get pregnant in the first place, or then to get access to abortion if it's like an accidental pregnancy, and then get access to work, get access to, um, again, to education, and yeah, and the age of birth, like first birth, is going up. It's going like up from like 20 to like 25 years to now maybe like getting like closer to 30 in Western countries. And when we're talking about Russia, once again, despite the fact that certain European countries want to portray it, all Russians are the same Russians. This is not the case, and a lot of Russians are actually responsible, and they don't want to give birth to humans, to kids, in these conditions. They either want to try to, I don't know, wait and see how the fuck it's gonna all, unravel, or they maybe they're maybe like trying to postpone the pregnancies, this whole kind of thing, before they can actually relocate somewhere, and then maybe give birth in like another country, and once they can like live already in another country, and so on and so forth. So yeah, and that's obviously the fertility rates, or like birth rates, are plummeting. Yeah, because people understand that this is not a particularly great time to give birth. This is not a particularly great play. A lot of people at least understand it. Not a particularly great time, not a particularly great place to bring new people into this world. So yeah, I can totally understand this. I actually think exactly the same. So yeah, all right. Russian businesses have stopped paying taxes because they don't have a lot of money. Apparently, they've gotten debts, about 83 billion rubles, which is what, $1.5 billion, something like that. Maybe, yeah, something like that. Um, which will lead to several things. Either a lot of businesses are gonna get closed soon, or a lot of businesses are gonna get closed soon. Um, yeah, which is very interesting that apparently the worst offenders, and this is the official Росстат Russian statistics. Worst offenders are oil and gas sector. They did not pay 25 billion rubles in these 5 months. That's quite something. Those who are actually benefiting the most right now, gas and oil, they're also not paying taxes. Great. That's amazing. um, yeah. Apparently, there is a deficit of headphones in Russia, because JBL, Bose, Harman Kardon, they all closed they're closed their own representatives in Russia after 24th of February, obviously. Marshall, Sennheiser, Sony, Samsung all decided not to ship new uh, not to ship new additional items. So yeah, and apparently a lot of these brands are actually the brands that um, governmental companies want when they're buying some things for themselves, which is also interesting to know. Um, there's been this very interesting little thing called parallel import in Russia, because of the companies, because of the brands have left Russia, a lot of them, right? In Russia, the government was trying to create parallel import, which is basically gray import. That basically the companies do not want to ship items to you in Russia, so instead you go to whatever, like Kazakhstan or Turkey, some other country that is sort of okay with you, and you buy things there. Obviously, all of this can be tracked by companies. They know how much they shipped generally, regularly to all of the countries, and now suddenly if they see more demand there, it's kind of quite obvious where exactly your things are going. But even this thing is not working really. Right now, there's parallel import in air quotes because it is actually used here in air quotes. Um, is about $2 billion per month, or only about 8% of the imports into Russia before the war, which was about 32 billion every month. So right now, Russia is importing, instead of 32 billion worth of goods, only 2 billion worth of goods. That's a lot. That's so you can understand, right? Obviously, if Russia was importing goods on $32 billion each month, it was a lot of goods that Russia did not create, did not produce themselves, and might need or want, but they don't get it right now. So that's once again, either people will get less goods, or if it was like crucial things, some things will start to, you know, break apart, and then getting out of service and so on and so forth, which is just like, it's just the same thing that we've mentioned before, that sanctions are working, they are working, and the economy of Russia is getting destroyed because a lot of it was reliant on imports, and now that these imports are substantially reduced, there will be missing things on the shelves or in factories, so on and so forth. So, just so everybody understands, sanctions are working. They're working as intended. They are destroying Russian economy right now. Okay, something interesting that started to happen in St. Petersburg is apparently they get notices to subpoena summons into their voinkomat, how we call it, military registration office. Um, yeah, military agency, something like that. This is something new. This is something new because in this war, so far, Moscow and St. Petersburg have been, or like most big million and up cities with 1 million or more citizens, people, they were basically absent from this recruitment to war and so on and so forth. This war so far have been fought by very poor people from the regions, very poor regions of Russia. But now, apparently, because a lot of people are refusing to go to war, refusing to join the military, refusing to be sent to the front lines, so on and so forth. Um, in July and in August, there've been this extensive campaign to try to find. I think I think the reported number was like 30 to 50,000 more people to create like a few another armies to be either sent all together there, or to create to have enough people so there is some sort of rotation possible, so you can, because a lot of those people, Russian soldiers, Russian cunts, let's call them for who they are, who were sent there even at the beginning of the war in like February or March, whatever. If they are not dead, they still might be there. Like usually, it's said that you need to rotate people like on a monthly basis, because after like a month of war, it's like already too much. And these people, some of them, again, if they're not dead, are on the front lines for like 6 months almost. So Russia is like trying right now to recruit more and more people. Hence, why we're speaking again, and we've spoken about the people from prisons, and apparently now it's getting to actual big cities, and the new recruitment um, are being promised apparently about 30k, 300,000 Russian rubles. Once again, divide by 60 to get dollars, and also 100,000 momentary, like right on the spot bonus, basically money, and then 300,000 if you've successfully went through all the basic like recruitment process. If you are just ready to go, you get 100,000 rubles bonus right on the spot, and from 200,000 up to 500,000 per month when you go into onto the actual battlefield on the front line. So once again, something interesting, because I have not, well, it's interesting, I'm using this word very generously. It's not interesting, it's terrible. But this is something that I have not seen before, and I think this is the first time I'm actually seeing this news. But once again, like 20 200,000 rubles, this is like 3.5k dollars per month. This is just like a regular salary in a lot of like European countries, or in the US, for example. Obviously it depends on what you're doing, but this is not this shouldn't be the amount of money you can agree to go and try to kill people, or try yourself not to be killed, and so on and so forth. This shouldn't be the amount of people. This should not be. And yeah. And it's interesting, at least, that on this website Fontankaru, which is the St. Petersburg, kind of one of the main websites, a lot of people are just leaving sarcastic comments like, well, so everything is going according to plan, huh? Or something like, if you have a lot of free money, maybe you should have fucking revert the pension age back, because it's been obviously raised all the time everywhere across the whole world, but especially here as well right now. And like, why are you not like protesting, so on and so forth, or like, people are at least like being sarcastic, because sometimes when you open kind of a website with .ru at the end, it's a lot of just paid bots, trolls, and so on and so forth, um, who are like pro Russia, pro so on and so forth, right? But here seems like actual like real people are typing things, just sarcastic shit that yeah, everything is going according to plan, huh? Um, which is good to see at least that. Okay. Now then, workers of defense factories will be forced to work overtime without really their consent. I think I'm pretty sure I've talked about this in some other stream. That that this kind of a law decree was in the workings that would allow those factories which are working for Gosobronzakaz. This is just like a con, Gosobronzakaz is a compound word that I think compound word is how you describe it. Gos means governmental, Abaron means defense, and Zakaz means procurement. So Gosobaron Zakaz, governmental defensive procurement. But it's just one word, just Russian language can work like that sometimes. So those factories can actually force people to work overtime without their consent. And 13th of August, this decree will actually um, it was already in effect. It's gotten into effect. I was just talking when it was sort of just a potential, and now apparently it is happening. Which means that those sectors need to work. Why they need to work? Because a lot of things are being destroyed, which means Ukraine is very successful at what they're doing, which is good, really good. Well, one more thing, I guess, kind of related to things we talked before, that um, government will not increase the amount of pensions, will not raise the pensions basically, or at least it's divided by a cumulative side and some other side. Uh, just, just some little details about the things how they're done in Russia, but basically, yeah, government will not increase it right now. Why? Because the war. Because the war is more important than pensioners, and also because yeah, fuck you, why not? Um, apparently, in Zelensky's office, Ukrainian government said that there will be more explosions. Continued the explosions in Crimea, for that matter, will continue on the military targets in the military, like airports, like facilities. Yeah. Um, yeah, just I mean, understandable. It's interesting, like why it started to happen now. Um, United States and the allies, they've all said that they didn't give Ukraine those like long range weapons, long range HIMARS weapons for that can shoot up to like 300 kilometers. But it might be that they have actually like silently gave them this type of weapons. I wouldn't be surprised if it's actually like that. If it's exactly why those silent explosions deep in the backlines started to happen. However, it might be that Ukraine have developed something or like licensed some sort of technology to create, I don't know, either or maybe just bought some sort of like or gotten like kamikaze drones or something like that. Not particularly sure. I would be really Interested to know like how exactly they are carrying out these operations. Either it's like a diversion groups, which is probably not, because in Crimea, like those airstrips, airfields, they kind of deep into like the enemy territory. It would be stupid probably to risk like people, personnel, to actually try to create some sort of a diversion. I don't know. Interesting though. It would be really interesting to know, to understand like how they're doing this, because right now Ukraine is playing the game that Russia has been playing for the longest time. We don't know what happened. Maybe somebody smoked something. Too bad. Whoever is smoking, continue to smoke though. This is what Ukrainians were saying, which is really good. But it would be really interesting to get to know how exactly it's done, to be honest. Yeah. Um, just a little bit more of Turkey in the news, whatever. Um, do you know what? I feel like we're getting close to 2 hours, and I still think there's quite a lot of stuff here. So probably, I'm gonna call it a day. I'm gonna probably call it a day. Let's just talk quickly, like about there's this plane called Sukhoi Superjet, which is Russian and French, I think. Yeah, Russian French joint venture basically, and these French engines called SAM 146. Now Russia wants to change them because obviously sanctions. You can't get spare parts. France is not going to continue to collaborate on this plane. Um, and they want to now change it to Russian engines PD8, but they want to do it during the next like 10 years. And mind you, it's not a lot of like planes. I think they have like what 100 planes or something like that. No, probably even less. How many planes do they have? Yeah, they have total 150 Superjet planes. So they want to retrofit basically another engine into them. Boeing might say a few things how it can go. Um, if you're trying to put another engine on a plane, that's one thing. But also 10 years. So what are they gonna do during these 10 years? Out of these 150 planes, I don't think I don't think all of them will survive. Probably like half of them will be like cannibalized to repair other planes, and and yeah, try to keep them in the air. Most likely. Don't know. Once again, when you start a war with the whole fucking civilized world, basically, you need to fucking think about your country and what you actually fucking can create even inside Russia. This is just so bizarre and fucking brain dead. It's like it is so amazes me just how much Russia miscalculated this whole fucking thing and how the world will actually react. It's just insane. It's just insane. Um, yeah. Russian coal has been basically eliminated mostly from at least like from sea charters, from sea deliveries, from the whole world basically. It's not just Europe who decided not to buy it anymore, but now um, now it's been done across the whole world basically, which is it's not so much of like comparatively to let's say like gas and oil income but it's still like several billion dollars. Several billion dollars. So it was like what into Europe it was 8 billion euro per year. Still quite some chunk of money. So yeah. I also wanted to mention basically wanted to mention several other things about, like, for example, China is basically one of the only supplier of cars into Russia. So instead of driving in the next 5 years probably, instead of driving like Mercedes, Audi, VW, BMW, even even like something like Toyota or something like that. Now it's gonna be Cherry, Geely, Exceed, just shit like that. And apparently, Korean cars are still somehow being brought into Russia, which is interesting. Um, imports have dropped from 25,000 cars per month in January to just 8,000 in July, 4 times. Well, 3 times. 3 times. And yeah, in the second quarter, there's been 27,000 new imports, 81% Chinese shit. And yeah, it's quite unfortunate. I actually know, like, I've seen a few Chinese car like Geely and something else, and unfortunately the quality of the metal is not great. Like, the car is all right, or can be all right. However, the cars of even like 6 years, something like that, they're already rusting. There's already rust under like a hood, under the bonnet, on the sides, for example, which would not happen in like German cars, for example, or Japanese, Korean cars for that matter. And yeah, like, overall, the Chinese cars, like, they're not total garbage, they're not total piece of shit, but the quality of the metal is not great. And I don't know, like, what can you do about it? How can you, just what can you do about it? But yeah, this is just something. This is just something to know that, once again, sanctions are working. They're working as intended, and yeah. I guess one last thing I want to mention is this thing that a lot of people are talking about the fact that when United States got information in October of 2021 that Russia is planning to start a war in Ukraine, several people tried to not tried they came to Russia, they flew to Russia, and they tried to talk sense into those people. Um, they tried to talk sense into those people, and apparently those people do not understand sense. Um, British minister Ben Wallace, Minister of Defense Ben Wallace, said that um, he met Sergei Shoigu, which, like I told you, uh, daughter of this cant is still not banned from Europe. She's traveling in like Paris, wherever, sending photos in Instagram, and just generally having quite a good time. Basically, did I have somewhere an image of it? Did I, or did not? I'm pretty sure I've had it somewhere, but yeah, maybe next time. So yeah, basically, Ben Wallace said that you're gonna get you're gonna get resistance, and it's not gonna be like an easy ride, whatever. And apparently, a lot of people in like Russian elites in Russian governments are fucking delusional because Shoigu basically said that Russia and Ukraine is one country, and his mother um, Ukrainian. So I don't know what it's supposed to mean basically. But then Ben Wallace said that you're gonna face harsh sanctions, and it's gonna damage your country a lot. And Shoigu responded that Russians can suffer like no one else, and that they can't stand the Western trajectory of Ukraine. Basically, the fact that, like I said in my previous stream, this whole war is simply because Ukraine does not want to do anything with Russia, because this Russia cannot on the emotional and on like a philosophical ideal level, they cannot offer anything to Ukraine, because Ukraine wants to be with the democratic countries of Europe, with where elections are held, presidents are changed, the people are the ones who decide. Again, I know, understand there's a lot of corruption everywhere in the government and in certain European countries as well, but just generally, it's not autocracies, it's not dictatorships, and Ukraine wants to be one of those countries. And Ben Wallace is saying that Shoigu exactly said the same, that they don't want Ukraine to be that. They don't want Ukraine to be actually. This is the whole thing that is happening. Russia does not want Ukraine to be good country. They don't want it to be democratic country, and they're ready to destroy Ukraine completely, basically wipe it out of the fucking wipe it from the face of the earth. And they are even prepared to destroy Russia altogether as well. So, yeah, interesting. Very interesting. I thought that it's maybe like Putin who is completely brain dead, and delusional, but no, apparently there are more than one delusional and fucking brain dead people there. Person. Yeah. Okay. So once again, I still have a lot of things that I want to talk about, but it's been 2 hours, almost 2 hours, and I think it's enough for this episode. Um, I think it's enough for this episode. We're gonna continue in the next one. And please don't forget to subscribe, follow on YouTube, criticaldiscussions.net. There are all the links. If you can, please support on Buy Me Coffee or on Patreon when it's going to be ready. And share this video when it's going to be in audio form, in form of a podcast. Once again, please listen to it, and I hope you're going to enjoy it. Thoughtful discussions is always appreciated. Once again, it's going to be posted, the full version is going to be posted on YouTube, so if you want to comment, please do this. I think I'm going to be posting this on Reddit probably as well. Once again, criticaldiscussions.net, there will be all the links. And I'm going to be also posting short clips out of this episode on YouTube channel. Perhaps maybe some of them will end up on TikTok as well. So yeah, I would really appreciate if you subscribe, and if you promote a little bit, help me gain more followers, more subscribers. And I'm gonna be continue bringing you news about Russia and about CIS region, some news about Ukraine, this war, and so on and so forth. On a weekly basis, I'll try to do it every Wednesday somewhere around this time as we started today. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. And till the next one, stay safe. Take care of yourselves. And once again, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and share the videos around. And especially if you can share a few videos with your friends and families, or maybe even post it to like Reddit or something like that, just to help me grow a little bit. I would really appreciate it. And donations, once again, if you can, I would deeply, deeply, deeply appreciate it, because every little dollar counts, every little subscriber, view, and every little good word also counts. Okay, thank you very much. Till the next one.